was kept as a slave in the backwoods of Missouri when she was 16 to 23 years of age and barely escaped with her life. This minor was even forced by her master to appear in an issue of Hustler magazine. What did Hustler magazine owner Larry Flynt know about this woman that appeared on the front cover of the July 2007 edition? Was Hustler magazine involved in human trafficking? Hello, my name is Holly. Welcome to the Murder She Shed, where we discuss really told true crime right from my she shed. Hey, look down there for a second. Down there, and smash that subscribe button because a Southern gal can get lost in this big YouTube world. Before we begin, I have to give a warning. This video involves BDSM and SA of a minor, so viewer discretion is advised. So if you're still here, let's enter this rabbit hole together. Buckle up because it is going to be a wild ride. The victim of this story has never been named, so for this video, we're just going to call her Emma. Emma, who was mentally disabled, had a hard life from a young age. She was shifted from foster home to foster home and never had any form of love or security. Emma had suffered emotional, physical, and abuse in her past and had previously sustained a traumatic head injury. She was a girl like every predator is looking for. She had no love. She was craving love. She didn't come from a good family. She didn't come from money. She had nothing. She owned nothing. And she was looking for more out of life, which is exactly how the Bagleys come into this story. In 2002, Emma was dating the son of Edward Bagley Sr., when she decided to run away from her Missouri foster home at the age of 16. 43-year-old Edward Bagley Sr. and his wife Marilyn Bagley asked the girl to move into their trailer home in the backwoods near Lebanon, Missouri. Ed said he would be good to her, and he promised to make her a model and a dancer. He gave her own room, her own clothes. He made her feel pretty and special. She had never felt like this before. It felt good. She felt like she was loved for the first time in her life. They groomed this girl right from the beginning. Only a couple of weeks after this young girl had moved into the Bagley's home, Marilyn just casually walked in the living room where Emma and Ed were sitting, wearing what she referred to as slave clothes, and letting Emma know that it would be nice if she wore this clothing too. The couple also introduced Emma to BDSM. The couple groomed Emma for 2 years, during that time introducing her to sex and drugs with the couple. On her 18th birthday, the couple made Emma sign a slave contract with a term that never ended. That's depressing. Can you imagine signing a contract that never ended? Any contract, because I wouldn't want any contract like that. I'd want to be able to get out of something, especially something as rough as this is going to be. After this contract was signed, Emma was forced to start calling Ed Master Ed. Emma was then given 3 tattoos to mark her as Ed's property. Emma was given a barcode on her neck, a tribal tattoo on her back with the letter S to mark her as a slave, and a Chinese symbol for slave on her ankle. If Emma didn't do what Ed told her to do, he told Emma that violent Ed would come out, and he also would threaten to kill her. Emma was scared of him after a while. The love, nice act was over with, and now the Bagleys have become violent. Before we go any further, I must give an additional warning about the torture that I'm about to discuss. It may be some of the most graphic that I've actually ever discussed on my channel. In fact, some of the info from the court documents was so graphic and bad, I probably can't even bring it up in this video. Emma was locked naked inside of a dog cage that was suspended in the air with an electric shocking device, sometimes attached to her private parts. She was waterboarded and suffocated to unconsciousness with plastic bags and ropes. Ed would buy her animals, and after she became attached to them, he would then kill the animal in front of her. It's a way to control her. He would insert a catheter in her and clamp the cord to prevent urination for long periods of time. Ed would use a crank phone to send electrical shocks to her private areas. He would gag and blindfold her naked, and with chains he would stretch her limbs in opposing directions. He threatened to bury Emma alive and showed her a video on exactly how he intended to do that. Ed also made a homemade plastic box with a motor and piston that connected a metal arm that had a toy on it. He would nail her private areas to boards. Ed sometimes would sew her private areas closed. I can't even imagine the pain. He would poke her with needles. He would suspend her with hooks. I told you it's rough. It's a rough one. If she became ill from any of these things that he did to her, then he would just go to a vet and get animal medication or order it online. Sometimes when Emma would beg him to stop, Ed would just start laughing. Thought it was all funny. Just fun and games to him. Another man named Michael Stokes was known as Rodent Online. Became familiar with Emma in 2006 when he received pictures of her over the internet in which she was naked with whip marks over her body. Stokes was told that Emma was a slave for life who was tortured for hours at a time and was required to do everything and anything she was told. After a few weeks of chatting online, Ed then brought Emma over to Stokes' house so she could do a demo for him. When they arrived at Stokes' residence, Ed brought a duffel bag of torture devices with them, and Emma was instructed to put on a show. Emma was naked, wearing only dog collars and ankle collars with locks. Stokes was asked whether he wanted to have sex with her. Stokes said yes, and he had sex with Emma. Stokes would later say he was stunned that someone had that much control over someone and that he had never seen anything like it. Stokes began visiting the residence where Emma was being held. During his first visit, he was shown a photo of Emma's private area sewn shut and told this was done to demonstrate what was expected of her. Emma was present for these statements and she just remained silent. Emma never talked back or spoke up. She was just too scared. He threatened her too many times at this point. She thought she was going to be buried alive. I can't imagine feeling that I might be buried alive. That is so terrifying. Stokes visited the residence 8 to 12 times. During these visits, he would receive acts or be allowed to watch or participate in torturing Emma. When he visited, he brought steaks, hamburgers, jackets, personalized playing cards, lighters, cigarettes, and cash, and he would use these items for payments. From 2006 to 2009, another man named Bradley Cook, or his username, put her to good use, watched the victim being essayed and tortured in live online sessions. Cook admitted that he traveled to Lebanon on multiple occasions during that time to engage in sessions of essay and torture with the victim. In exchange, Cook paid Ed for these sessions with such items as a computer hard drive that contained images and videos of BDSM, which he had downloaded from the internet. Cook also admitted he was aware of other men who engaged in acts and torture with Emma too. He witnessed the victim being whipped and locked in a dog cage, as well as being tied up and shocked with multiple electrical devices. Cook described the abuse suffered by the victim as the most extreme he had ever seen. The Bagleys forced Emma to work as a stripper and exotic dancer at adult entertainment clubs from June 2007 to February 2009. Marilyn would take Emma's check and spend it on things she wanted. The girl would work her butt off literally and come home, and Marilyn would steal her check and buy herself clothes or whatever she wanted. Ed punished Emma with torture, PA, and SA for failing to be a top earner at the adult entertainment clubs where he had her dance and strip. She didn't make enough tips. She would be tortured for it when she got home. This is a horrible story. This story was almost so bad, I almost decided not to talk about it. I wrote the whole thing and I was like, what should I even put this on here? But then I thought, hey, we need to talk about trafficking. It's important that we talk about it. So here I am. When Emma would get pregnant by one of the many men that abused her, Ed would just perform abortions on Emma using vacuums and clothes hangers. In July of 2007, Ed, with the help of Stokes, was able to get Emma in Hustler's magazine called Taboo. Taboo is an S&M fetish magazine that's part of the Larry Flynt media empire. Emma also appeared in the August 2008 issue of Taboo along with an interview and photographs of her owner, Ed. This is actually Emma and Ed's photos from that magazine. The photographer for the magazine actually discovered Emma online on a website devoted to BDSM. The photographer then invited Ed and Emma to California for a photo shoot. Larry Flynt was not short of controversy himself. Flynt actually put an image of a woman being fed into a meat grinder on the cover of this magazine. Flynt started the term barely legal in his Hustler Barely Legal magazine, which had explicit photos of naked young women, all of whom are at least 18 years old. They would be younger if the law allowed it, though. Think about that. The models are selected and photographed to emphasize their youth. Flynt was a major proponent in overturning the Child P Protection Act. This federal act once restricted child P and the employment of models who appeared to be under the legal age of consent. The act was overturned as a result of Flynt's persistent lobbying as a member of the Free Speech Coalition, providing him and the industry at large with the freedom of speech to employ models that looked like children and young teenagers engaged in sex with much older men. Flynt also had another controversy when he hired a cartoonist for Hustler magazine who was the Chester the Molester cartoon first appeared in Hustler's pages in 1976. The strip starred Chester, a beefy middle-aged man shown in various acts, concealing his genitals in a hot dog bun while offering it to a child, or in a twist on the famous copper-toned sunscreen logo. Chester tugged at the little girl's bathing suit with his teeth. Then in 1989, the cartoon's creator, Dwayne Tinsley, was arrested. Art, it appeared, had imitated life. His 18-year-old daughter said he had been her since she was 11. The magazine also once ran an interview with Charles Bukowski, in which the author defended the psychological makeup of Flynt. Even admitted to losing his virginity at the age of 9 to a chicken. Older boys had told him that a chicken was good as a girl, so he tried it. With morals like this, who says Flynt didn't know that trafficking was used by men that lured women into his magazines? I mean, as I said before, art imitating life. What you dream about, what you look at all the time, gets in here and it comes out. I don't care what people say. It does. Emma's abuse finally stopped in 2009 when she suffered a cardiac arrest during a torturing session that involved shocking, and she came close to dying. Ed and all the men that abused her were given 20 years in prison, while his wife Marilyn was given probation. The court decided that she was considered in a separate category from the men in this case, because she was a victim of extensive physical and emotional abuse for over 25 years prior to her criminal conduct and participation in the conspiracy. This case is just one example of how can contribute to human trafficking. I'm sure there's a billion others. Well, guys, on a brighter note, now that was thoroughly depressing, I don't know, a lot of y'all might not know I have another channel called Strange She Shed, and I do some really weird things. And a lot of times I wear wigs. I buy different color wigs and I wear them. I know, this is weird. So I had this urge to trim one of my wig bangs off because it was in my eyes. So when I went to trim it off, I decided, well, it'd be easier if I set the wig on my head. That way I can get a straighter trim. Well, during the process, I cut my own bangs. It's just ironic that I was using a blonde wig when I did this. And I had the biggest blonde moment. I took that wig off and I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? I have a grandbaby fixing to be born and I got to take pictures with my bangs like this. It was definitely a big blonde moment. My husband was cracking up. Speaking of my granddaughter fixing to be born, she's going to be born tomorrow. My daughter-in-law is going to get induced, and I'm so excited. I'm going to get to be in the labor and delivery room. She's going to let me, and I'll get to see her be born, and I'm so excited about this. But saying all this to say, I'm not sure exactly when my next video will be out. I'm going to take a few days just to be a grandma, just to enjoy it, and do nothing else but just hold her and love my little Willow. That's going to be her name. I think I can say that now. So anyway, I will get back with you guys as soon as I can. Make sure you come back and see me right here in the Murder She Shed. Usually once weekly. I don't know if I'll skip next week or not. I might not. I don't know. Depends what goes on. I don't know how much help my daughter-in-law is going to need. So we'll see. All right, guys, I love y'all, and I hope y'all have a great week. I know I'm certainly going to. I'm extremely excited. Come say bye. Come say bye. You going to say bye too? He's got to get up here and say bye. Where's your feet? Are they muddy or wet? I think they're muddy. You're just getting me muddy, Bubba. Max, this is Max. He says bye. This is Simon. He says bye. We're going to go have some fun. I know. We want to have some fun today, don't we? Yeah, we do. What do you want to do? I didn't even say what we wanted to do yet. Let's go do some fun.